Oh, Sony. Oh God, why? I mean, oh, you all know, and I can't believe I'm saying this because it's all over and everybody's talking about it. Sony came off with their latest ripoff. Game. Yeah, the PlayStation something battle royale. Oh God, and I just saw the footage of it, and it's way too much of a ripoff. I mean, this is just a complete blatant ripoff off of uh, Super Smash Brothers Brawl, or just the entire Smash Brothers in general. Literally. Oh, why Sony? I mean, I know the move was a blatant ripoff as well of the Wiimotes, and a pretty piss poor one. And of course, there were some other ripoffs coming from Sony. I mean, and pretty much their entire controller is generally a complete ripoff. Even though there were some innovative ideas, ripoffs, but innovative. Um, Most of you don't know this. Yeah, the original controller did resemble the Super NES controller with two handles at the bottom, which actually those two handles at the bottom came from another NES controller called the NES Max, which came out for the regular NES. In fact, it just looks rarely eerie, even though the controller was complete shit. I'll put a link of the NES Max. The other controller was also the Super NES controller, mainly because they had shoulder buttons on the Super NES. I'm not going to bother with a link to the Super NES controller because it was. Everybody knows what the Super NES controller is. I'll put a link to the NES Max, and you can just go and find the original PlayStation controller without the two analog sticks. Of course, Sony added a second set of uh, shoulder buttons, by the way, which was pretty innovative. And then, seeing the analog stick on the Nintendo 64, they put their own analog stick in there, even though I think it was kind of innovative that they put two. They said that they were following some sort of double analog stick joystick that came out for the Dreamcast. Tell the truth, no, I don't think they copied anything on that. They just decided to put two analog sticks and make them into buttons, which I think is the only original thinking that they did. And the reason why I don't think it's really much of a copy was, you know, no one thought about, putting two small analog sticks on a controller back then and then turning them into buttons, which actually kind of helped. But then all of a sudden you go into the move. Yeah, the move. Yeah, that thing is deader than horseshit. It's such a wee rip-off. But now we've got an actual game that is a complete and utter rip-off. Seriously. Why did you do this, Sony? You know what? Just for the heck of it, I'm going to show some. I'm going to link to a leaked footage of Rayman Legends for the Wii U, which shows some really great features for it, and making me really want to consider getting a Wii U if hopefully it's at a good price. Remember, the price is pretty much all that's important right now. You've copied all of their hardware, Sony. Now you're just copying their software. Way to go. Oh yeah, I also forgot. And yeah, Microsoft is also guilty with this with their 360 controllers. Both of them have Rumble in them, or DualShock. Basically, both Microsoft and Sony were using the same ones from the same companies. That's why that one corporation sued them. As for Nintendo, they actually innovated it, and they've got their own patent on their own shocking system, so they don't really have to worry about getting any kind of lawsuits. Mainly because they can sue the company that sued the other two companies because, well, let's face it, Nintendo was the actual innovator. But yeah, Microsoft's guilty of that one too, of copying Nintendo on that whole Rumble shocking control thing. I know that there's some people who disagree, but fuck you.